Maybe the most common misconception about the VA loan benefit is that you can only use it once. So let's go ahead and clear that up right at the start. Once you earn this benefit, it's yours for life. Not only can you reuse the VA loan over and over again, but it's even possible to have more than one VA loan at the same time or to buy again after defaulting on a previous one. The key is understanding VA loan entitlement, and that's exactly why we're here. So let's jump right in. If you're keeping your current VA backed home, you won't have your full VA loan entitlement ready to go for a new purchase. The same is true if you've lost a previous VA loan to foreclosure. That means you might need a down payment the next time you're using this benefit, and it's even possible you won't have enough entitlement left over for any other VA loan, period. To get a handle on this, lenders will look at your certificate of eligibility, and that shows how much entitlement you're using. They'll also look at the VA loan limit for where you're hoping to buy. These county level limits help determine the maximum entitlement available. Now, right now, in most parts of the country, the current loan limit is $647,200. Because the VA typically backs a quarter of the loan, the max entitlement in these counties is $161,800, which is 25% of that limit. Now we're going to run through an example. I can show you how the calculation works and how lenders look at this. And just a quick warning, there is some math ahead. Well, say you bought your current house for $300,000. And given the way the VA's guarantee works, you're using about a quarter of that amount in entitlement, which in our example, it comes out to $75,000. Next, you would subtract the entitlement you're using from the max entitlement for the county. In this case, we're subtracting $75,000 from that $161,800, which comes out to $86,800. Then, because of the VA's guarantee, you multiply $86,800 by 4, which gives you $347,200. So what is that number? In this example, $347,200 is how much you can borrow before needing to make a down payment. You can absolutely borrow above this figure. But if that's your plan, then you'll need to put down a quarter of the difference between the purchase price and that number. So if you wanted to buy at $400,000, let's say, then you would need to put down a little over 13 grand. In terms of a down payment, that's just over 3%. And that's really about as low of a down payment as you're going to find with any home loan out there. Loan limits are also higher in more expensive real estate markets. That means your max entitlement is going to be higher in these places, and that means you ultimately have even more zero down buying power. It's also important to understand that everything we've talked about equally applies to veterans who've defaulted on a previous VA loan. You can still look to reuse this benefit even if you've lost on to foreclosure or short sale. In those cases, whatever VA loan entitlement you used on that defaulted mortgage is gone, but you might have enough left over for a brand new VA loan. I know this might sound like a lot, which is why it's often easiest to just talk with a Veterans United loan specialist. But you can also use the example we went over as a template of sorts for your own situation. You can find the current loan limit for your county online. We also have a great loan limit calculator on the Veterans United website. From there, just rerun this basic calculation to get a sense of your remaining entitlement and how much you can borrow before needing a down payment. There's two final things I wanted to touch on quickly before we go. One is that there's often a minimum loan amount in these situations. You'll typically need to borrow at least $144,001 when purchasing with diminished entitlement. Now that amount can include financing the VA funding fee. The second thing to know is that entitlement situations can get complicated, and they can get complicated in a hurry. There are a bunch of scenarios that we really couldn't fit into this video. There are multiple layers of entitlement, and that can make a difference. And there's even a way to restore your full entitlement without having to get rid of a property, although that's a one-time deal. The bottom line with all of that is there's a lot to know about VA loan entitlement. Just remember, more important than anything else is that you can reuse this benefit over and over again. A Veterans United loan specialist can take a deeper look at your specific entitlement situation and let you know what's possible.